Welcome to AI Innovators, hosted by Gil Hodges. Dive deep with AI's top minds and their groundbreaking insights. Hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Don't keep this information to yourself. Share it. And ring that bell for transformative AI discussions. Stay with us.
So let's then shift back to what's it going to take for Aigo, your company, and again, you're the CEO and the Chief Science Officer of Aigo. What is it going to take financially? Because you talk about you measure it in dollars. So if you had all the funds you needed to get this AI to human level
Mhm.
intelligence in the next, say, 3 to 5 years,
Mhm.
what kind of investments are we talking about? Because I mean, right now, investors are just pouring literally billions of dollars into
Yes.
the large language models.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually quite frustrating in that sense because the the technology, the path that we've taken, is what DARPA called the third wave of AI. So the first wave of AI was sort of expert systems, or people call it good old-fashioned AI, which was sort of logic-based, roughly speaking. And the second wave is basically what we're witnessing now. It hit us like a tsunami about 12 years ago. It's all about big data, a lot of computing power, statistical systems, and it's been enormously successful in many areas. I mean, to the progress that's been made with self-driving and image recognition, and now ChatGPT. Clearly, the second wave, has brought us a lot of new good technology. But the third wave is cognitive AI. So the second wave is statistical or generative now. It's all based on statistical big data. But the third wave, and that's the approach we've been taking for the last, well, since we started basically, is cognitive AI. So your starting point is what is really important for intelligence? What is really important for cognition? How does cognition work? And, one of the things that we spend quite a bit of time talking about, the importance of learning in real time with limited computing power. So the approach that we have doesn't need massive amounts of computation. It doesn't need massive amounts of data. I mean, humans don't need it, you know. So large language models, ChatGPT, I believe, cost $100 million to train one model. $100 million to train one model,
Wow.
and then are building bigger and bigger models, which will cost more. The specialized chips that they have now go for, I think, $30,000 or $40,000 each. So
Wow.
these companies have to literally raise hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to be able to build these larger and larger statistical models. Now, our system learns incrementally. So the cost of learning incrementally is not this huge number crunching thing of billions and billions of things you're trying to get, to make sense of basically this huge pile of data. Our system learns more the way we learn as humans. We read something and we integrate it and it's there. We may read it twice or three times if it's something difficult, or we may only need to read it once. So our system is much, much more efficient in terms of learning. We don't need hundreds of millions of dollars for that. So anyway, to answer your question, our estimate is that the main cost is basically we need to hire about 100 people initially to crank up to get the intelligence of our system scaled up basically. And then obviously we'd want to commercialize this next generation of it. There we would probably double the staff to something like 200, and then working with a lot of partners and so on. So we're looking in the realm to get the technology done. We're talking about like $50 million, really mainly for staff cost, and then the commercialization might be another 50 to 80 million dollars to scale up the company to really make a big splash commercially, and then use partners and build the ecosystem basically to implement our technology in all the many different areas. For example, as a personal assistant, people will want specialties, on whatever job they're doing. So there'll be additional training and so on. But that's the kind of money we're talking about, which is really a drop in the ocean compared to
Yeah, exactly.
to what is being spent on large language models.
Yeah, so it just seems to me that there would be some investors out there who would have the foresight to see that what you have got is going to tremendously pass over and pass by these large language models and what they're capable of doing. Um, it just, I'm like, where are the investors? I'm like,
Yeah.
Elon, where are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
Bill Gates, where are they at? How come they're not grabbing onto this? And I think you've said that you've tried reaching out to them, but not
Yeah,
really
we've
got any.
not with too much success. The difficulty is, we're doing the third wave cognitive AI. Everybody else is doing statistical generative second wave, basically. So the people in charge, the experts, that's what they know. But anyway, there's our team or another team. We could have human level AI in 5 years or less. Now, the there's actually a really, really important thing, because everybody is excited about ChatGPT and large language
Right,
models.
right,
Now, however, if you listen to even Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, or Demis Hassabis, CEO of Google DeepMind, they freely admit that large language models will not get us to AGI. So as powerful as that technology is, and as impressive as it is, and as profitable as it is right now for a lot of companies, um, it's simply not capable of getting to human level understanding. And I can give, I mean, there are a number of technical reasons, but there's a very obvious one I can mention of why there's a general agreement that that's not the right technology to get us to human like intelligence, is that they do not learn in real time. And Chat GPT, if you even look at the word GPT, it stands for generative. Basically, it means it makes up stuff, and it literally does. Um, P means it's pre-trained, which means it cannot learn during operation. And transformer is simply the technology that they're using. But everybody is stuck on the transformer technology because it has been so powerful and has been so impressive. So that's what everybody is pursuing. In fact, billions of dollars are going into building optimized hardware for transformers, trying to have bigger systems and systems that can be trained in less than a week or two, which that's what it takes. But and people often don't believe me, or when they first hear it, they kind of think, well, surely it can learn, and it really can't. It can only learn in a very short term way. And I mean, I actually published a white paper recently where we did a test with Aigo, where we told it a few hundred different facts that you might, as a personal assistant, you might tell them, my sister has a cat, and I own this kind of car, and my car needs to go for a service, or I park it out in the street, or I want to get a new fence for my backyard, and whatever. I mean, things like that, simple facts. So we fed it a few hundred facts like that, ChatGPT, and then started asking questions. It got less than 1% of them right. With our technology, we basically get 100%. I mean, okay, it's a regression test, but anyway, it can do this kind of thing. We did it with Claude 2, which is one of the competitors of ChatGPT, and that, because it has a bigger short-term memory window, was actually much better, but it still only did, I think, 38% or 37% of the question. So it mixed up, the information and so on, couldn't do it. Um, they really cannot learn properly. So new information you feed them doesn't get integrated into that model. The model that is pre-trained is fixed. It's read only. It cannot be changed without retraining the whole thing, or without going through another batch training procedure. So imagine hiring, this an AI assistant, or a person, a human assistant even. Imagine hiring a human assistant, then they come to you and they can do Excel, and they can do Word, and they can do banking and whatever. They can do a whole bunch of stuff. But now during the day, you tell them, oh, we're closing down this one branch. We're taking on some new products here. We've got a new partnership with this person, and, a couple of things like that. Next day, don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
They're not going to last very long, are they? So
Right.
it's a wrong technology if you have a pre-trained one. And then, of course, on top of that, because they are generative, they make up stuff. So you now have this assistant who's very important to you, but 5% of the time they'll get something completely utterly wrong. They'll just make up stuff. Now you're going to lose
Tell it to you.
some customers and friends, and lose some money that way. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I totally get that. I mean, I've
Mm.
had ChatGPT do that to me multiple times, and yeah, you got to proofread everything, which is like having an assistant that you have to go through everything they've done to
Right.
make sure they did it right, and
Yeah.
that's not as helpful as having something or somebody who can actually do it. So, again, I mean, okay, one more thing though, because I've heard you talk about this before we go to another subject. You've talked about and shared how if one of your assistants is, say, an assistant to help learn how to heal, find the cure for cancer, that you've not just got an assistant that knows a bunch of information,
Right.
but yours actually can reason and has a cognitive ability to put two and two together where it wasn't said, but you just can realize it. It's got that ability, plus it's got the memorization of everything that you've ever put into it.
Right.
And not only that, I think you've said this, but you could duplicate it. You could have
Right.
10 of them working for you at a time. You
Yeah.
could have 1,000 of them working for you at a time. What would that do? So a little bit more on that, if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've been focusing on the sort of the current model the current version that we have, which we're commercializing. But the really exciting part for me, or what has been driving me for 20 years here on this journey, is what AGI can do once we get to human level. And it's really phenomenal, and I think it'll really help humanity flourish. So the kind of things you're mentioning there, imagine, and we need to be pretty much at human intelligence level to achieve that. But imagine you train up just one AI agent, to the level of a PhD level cancer researcher. Now you can make 1 million copies of that AI, and you have 1 million PhD level cancer researchers chipping
Wow.
away at the problem.
Wow.
I mean, we're going to make much, much more progress. And that's just one example. I mean, it's, all other diseases, energy, battery efficiency, pollution, climate change, and governance, which is a big one, but that's a whole
Yeah.
another topic. So having these assistants, both as a personal assistant to help us, and also as researchers. And then, of course, also it'll bring down the cost of goods and services tremendously. So it'll create an enormous amount of wealth for the world, and that's why I'm so excited about it. Now, the other thing you pointed out there is the inherent advantages of AI over humans. Now, one of them is you can copy them. I mean, you get a cancer researcher, 10 years to do their PhD, and then you have it in one brain. You can't copy that easily. I mean, it takes a long time to transfer that knowledge to somebody else. So the ability to copy, the fact that it's going to be a much lower cost than humans. I mean, it costs a lot of money to train humans up.
Well, it's not going to forget anything or be able to recall everything.
Right, photographic memory, and then researchers communicating with each other much more effective. So if a researcher read a bunch of papers and got a lot of new information, useful information, they can effectively transfer that information to another AI, much more effectively than humans can. Work 24/7 without getting tired.
Thank you for joining AI Innovators hosted by Gil Hodges. Who do you know that would like to invest in the future? Into AGI? Look in the notes below to get more information and to connect with Peter Voss and others. We hope you enjoyed diving deep with these top AI minds and their groundbreaking insights. Please like this podcast, share it with other AI enthusiasts, subscribe if you like this channel, and ring that bell for more transformative AI discussions. We look forward to seeing you next time.